In studio right now is Mike Hennessey. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Bill.
Well, you're dragged into this this county executive thing. Now you're back in. You've dragged yourself back in.
No, you fought yourself back
I'll
in.
get to all of what's been going on in a second, but before we go there, you had your petition, your signatures challenged.
Right.
And the Board of Elections ruled that you would be taken off the ballot. You would not be on the ballot.
By 22 signatures.
You challenged that, and yesterday, after spending a full day in court,
It's a good 6 hours.
okay,
Yeah. Wow.
you came out victorious. You're back on the ballot.
Thank you, yes.
Tell us what happened.
Well, first of all, it was, as I kind of felt like a bystander because I really didn't add anything to this. I just kind of watched. And I was very impressed by the whole process. The county attorney did a good job. My attorneys did a good job. And I think Judge Murad came down with a proper decision and based on the information we provided. And we picked up enough signatures with witnesses. We had 12 witnesses. And it was a good process. I look back and I have a better feeling for the judicial system. It works.
Okay.
What was the initial issue with your petitions again?
Well, a lot of them were printed in the dead of the winter. People don't really want to sit and talk with you, so they rushed and printed their names. And some people, names couldn't be recognized. We picked up a lot on that. And so,
if I'm not mistaken, was there a gentleman who no longer has the use of a hand or an arm now? That signature was challenged, and they were comparing. Were they comparing it to when he signed his voter ID card?
80 years old, and it was 60 years ago.
Yeah,
he signed it 60 years ago, and so there was a discrepancy.
Sure,
absolutely.
I have neuropathy. Mine doesn't look like what it is.
I've watched my signature. Somehow I received a medical doctorate. If you look at my signature, somehow it's turned into a doctor's signature. I don't know how I did that, but a lot of education, to be honest. A lot of years.
So can I ask you said the county attorney was there?
Well, two county attorneys were, one representing the county and one representing the Board of Elections. I'm talking about the one from the Board of Elections. He was very good. Many of the challenges he agreed with, and others he did a good job representing the county. Yes,
but
it's ironic that you're fighting your own county attorney and you're paying for his services, but they have the job and they have to do it.
And ultimately, they did it.
Yes.
And you feel the system was
Worked.
fair.
Yeah.
We all know, I think in every, I don't want to say every race, but most races, if you're a seasoned campaigner and you have a team, they're going to challenge. Most likely, they're going to challenge signatures.
Right,
so
it happens.
It happens.
Yes, it does.
Tell me your thoughts. So now you are now a legitimate candidate for Oneida County Executive. What's your take on what happened yesterday?
On the other issue?
Yeah.
I got to be quite honest with you. When I was only a block away, they tell me, I got bits and pieces from the news people that came over later to question me about the court decision.
Yeah.
And I've told everybody, I'm staying out of that. The people in Oneida County are more worried about jobs. They're worried about being able to educate their children. They're worried about the high sales taxes. They're concerned about the length of service of a county executive. His ideas gone tired and worn out? Is it time for a fresh approach? Those are the issues that concern me, and that's what I'm going to be talking about.
You could be facing Dave Gordon. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is he crossing a line?
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to be doing it. I can assure everybody that's listening, I want to talk about issues. I want to talk about my ideas. I want to talk about how I'm improving this county. And I want to do it with, it might be all three of us.
Could be.
We all have lines.
Yeah.
At some point, it's possible he could start making up things about you.
I mean, you could be a victim of this.
I'm not. That wouldn't be the first time in my life that things were said that weren't true, and I've learned over the years you just roll with it. I'm a stockbroker, and when the market goes up, my clients are experts in the markets. When they go down, they blame me. So I'm used to it, and I'll deal with it.
Well, fresh off the presses, I just want to read you what we just got in the email. I'm
here's what
Dave Gordon's holding a press conference today, actually.
He just actually heard you're back in the race, so you'll be added into this. Obviously, for you, being back in is a big victory here.
Yeah, it is, because it shows my personal tenacity that when I feel that I'm right or my group's right and the people are being disfranchised, that I was willing to put the time, the money into getting it corrected.
If you become county executive, what changes will you make? Are there any changes that you would like to make right away?
In our economic development efforts, from EDGE especially, I want to change the leadership. I know of a number of people in this community that have worked through the years and have had economic experience. They've run their own businesses. I think it's time for somebody who has a proven record of success in the business community to come forward. I want to hire somebody locally that knows the area. One of the thoughts I have is we often talk about new businesses coming in the area, and that's difficult, to be quite honest with you. What we need to do is talk to the businesses that have been successful, try to get ComEd to bring some of their jobs back. Talk to ComEd, who are your suppliers that make things for you? Mm-hmm. We want to talk to those people that have already got a commitment to the area, that have been here. Maybe they'll bring their manufacturing businesses back here or being for the first time. So I want to work from top down, get involved with the business community and try to find leads that people of proper backgrounds can work off of and bring those jobs to this area.
Some of the programs that Tony Vicente has been for and has worked on, I'd just like to throw a few out and just get your take on them.
All right.
The Nexus Center.
I'm fully supportive of the Nexus Center. I go to Lake Placid a lot, and in the wintertime they have hockey, and it draws a lot of people.
Youth sports just...
it's a great idea, and I think it'll work here. I really do.
The hospital downtown, the hospital in general.
I'm going to keep an open mind to it, but I need any new county executive, be Dave Gordon, myself, really needs to look at the financial aspects of it, get a full understanding who's doing what and who's backing up the bonds. Does City of Utica have the financial strength on their efforts? And does Oneida County? We're going to be over $200 million in bond indebtedness. Right now, we pay $5.5 million a year on interest currently. It's like opening the windows on the top floor and having a fan blow the money out, because we do not receive any benefits from that cost because of the high levels of bonding.
The county executive did say that it is well below the constitutional limit.
It's below it, but I wouldn't consider it well below. And number two, if you get the numbers from the controller's office like I did, it does not include a dollar from the hospital project.
I want to ask you about two items that the county executive has proposed that have not gone anywhere as of yet. One is the beer museum. It's a craft beer museum that would be developed, and the second is a casino that would be fully funded by the Oneida Nation.
I would be more supportive of the beer museum than I would the casino. The casino is very unpopular even in the city of Utica. The only way I would support it is if we put it up into a public referendum and the people decide they wanted it. I probably would go along with it at that point. I think the community, especially on casinos, should have a say, especially the local area that's hosting it. Their lives will change to some degree.
Yeah.
And I think what's wrong with some referendums in this county? Instead of telling us, here we're doing it this way or that way, we complain about Cuomo's style of government. That's a legitimate issue, and in the style of Tony's running government. I think I'll be more open to getting full public support on some of these issues before I would move forward.
I want to go to Manaski here.
Can I go back to the MV Edge thing, right? I know I've heard complaints about Edge over the years from both sides, both parties, Republican and Democrat. But do you give them credit for rebuilding the base and bringing those businesses back in? And when you say you need to bring in someone who knows the area more, I believe they've been heavily involved at Griffiths, at what failed at with the Nano.
Over 5,000 people employed there.
Yeah, and that effort still continues. I guess talk about what don't you like about Edge?
I would say that as a county legislator, I was turned off by the leadership. Not all the employees. There were some good employees there. I'll agree with that. But the leadership of it, he had an attitude of not really listening to ideas. It was kind of a one-man show, and I think legislators, we had special meetings up there because of our concerns. I don't think they're always were addressed properly. He's been there for one form or another in economic development for a long time. I don't know his personal private sector background, and I think that's important. You have to go through it to really truly understand all the hurdles in bringing companies in, the state taxes on businesses that I had to pay. I still pay because I'm kind of an individual corporation within a company I work for. There's just too many hurdles, and many of them are state level, and he has a voice on that, but he doesn't control any votes. I just want a stronger advocate and put fresh picture to it.
How about the county executive added a position, an economic development position? Dave Catalfamo is the person that filled that. Your thoughts on Dave and that role?
I don't know Dave. I've heard a few things, but again, until you meet the person, I'd be open. I will give Tony credit that and it comes back to Edge. When I was on the board, we were given $500,000. I think at one time we were given $750,000 up to $1 million a year. It's been cut back by legislators over time because they haven't seen the results they were looking for. They didn't really like the flavor of that area.
And how would you handle all the money that's been invested at Nano in Marcy?
Well, we got to get a business in there.
Yeah.
And we've got to, like I say, work with local businesses. An insurance company, a big insurance company. We have Hartford, we have Metropolitan. Why can't we go to them and get their support to go to their higher ups? There's more positions all the time in that field. Insurance businesses are quite. The city of Hartford, Connecticut has done quite well with Hartford even. Mm-hmm. So let's try to get some more jobs in those areas and work with ConMed, Hartford. There's so many good companies, Utica National, that we can work with and try to get their support and be part of our efforts in recruiting.
And to kind of piggyback on Jeff's point, we are kind of on the same wavelength with the MV Edge thing. Does the county executive have say over who's the head of Mohawk Valley Edge? Would you be able to, as county executive, remove Steve DeMio from that position?
I may not be able to remove Steve from that position. You're right. There is kind of a quasi relationship.
Private, right?
Yeah,
they're private. Yeah,
and they get their income from renting from businesses that are up there. So I might not be able to get rid of Steve DeMio, but I can get rid of the funding, and that may very well lead to a change.
All right. So. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What line? That's a Democrat line. Do you have any other lines?
Working on the independence line. This did slow me down on that effort, and I'm in a primary for the conservative line that Mr. Pasanti got.
Okay. Mike Hennessey, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.